Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Just a 1-minute warning to say I'll be coming to do a reflection in a moment. If you are visiting the church, feel free to continue to look around, but do be aware that if you come up to this area of the church, you will be live on camera. So good afternoon and welcome to our 1 p.m. Wednesday live stream. The camera's in the wrong place, so I'll be back in a minute. So I'm back, but whether or not you can see me on screen, I don't know yet. But you might, there you are. I am now live on the internet and also live here in person. So it is my delight to be here in a slightly disorganised fashion today, but that is nothing new. And also, possibly just because I've had a very busy weekend. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Naomi Tuma. I am the curate here, and I am also newly ordained as priest in the Church of England, which is very exciting. For those of you who are a bit confused and think, hang on a minute, weren't you ordained last year? Yes, I was ordained last year as deacon. And this year I'm ordained as priest, which is a little bit like last year having the L plates put on my car, and this year having put the P on my car. So I'm still training, but I am ordained priest, so I have somehow passed some test. But I'm still in training. I'll be here for another 2 years, but I am ordained to be priest in the Church of God, and in particular in the Church of England. And I wanted to just share 3 reflections about what's really struck me about being ordained priest in this church at this time. So the first thing is that I've been ordained into the Church of England, which has a parish system, which may not strike you as anything unusual, but the amazing thing for me about the parish system is it means that every single person in the country, whether they are Christian, whether they follow another religion or no religion, whether they believe in anything at all, whether in fact they've got the intellectual capacity to believe in anything, whether they're young or old, every person in the community is part of the parish. and has the right to come to the church to ask for prayer or for blessing. It's amazing to think that I have been ordained to serve the whole community and not just the congregation of the church. And that is a particular blessing of being part of the Church of England. The second thing that I have been ordained to do, or the second difference it makes, is that I've been ordained as priest or presbyter, but I have been ordained, and this means that I am able to preside at the Eucharist, which is a complicated term, and it means many things. But the Eucharist is one name for in the Catholic Church it's known as Mass, in the Church of Scotland it's known as Holy Communion. But it's that moment when Christians come together to share bread and wine and to remember the death and resurrection of Jesus and all that means to us. It's that moment, it's called a sacramental moment, when heaven and earth meet, when we are able as Christians to trust in God's promise that he will meet with us as we remember him through the sharing of bread and wine. So for me, that's a really important part of what it means to be ordained. Although for me, it was also one of the hurdles to being ordained, as I have some issues with the idea that it's only priests that can preside at the Eucharist. And I'm not going to get into the theology, but for me, I think I wonder whether any mature Christian should be able to host the communion service, to be the person who gathers people around to remember Christ and to share bread and wine. And the thing about it is that even having been ordained priest, I'm not someone special. I'm very ordinary. And it's because of God's grace, rather than because of anything I've done, that enables me to be the person who can preside at communion, who can be the host, or can be the person who invites others to come and share bread and wine. In fact, you may have noticed, if you have watched any of our services online or been here in person, that the person who presides at communion wears special clothes. It's because we want to, in some way, hide our own identity, because it's not really us who are the important feature of the service. It's Jesus that's the important feature of the service. And so in some way, wearing church clothes enables us to just be seen as part of the church, not a special individual who's got some special magic ability to make things holy. Actually, it reminds us of our ordinariness. And one of the most encouraging laws in the Church of England is that it's not the holiness of the person presiding at communion that makes the difference. It's God that makes the difference. The holiness or otherwise of the person presiding is entirely irrelevant to the efficacy, if that's the right word, of the taking of communion. God meets us directly, not through the merits of the priest. And while we're on the topic of holiness or otherwise in relation to communion, Holy Communion is not for the holy. Holy Communion is for whoever comes. It's for the sinners. It's for those of us who need to connect with God. We come to communion not because we're holy, but because we need to connect with God. Not because we deserve it, but because we know we don't deserve it. And so for me, being able to preside at communion is a delight and a joy, but it's not about being special. And finally, my final reflection on what it means to be ordained as a priest in the Church of God, which is how the ordination service puts it, or in my head, in the Church of England, which is the institution which I'm serving. Well, that's an interesting one. What is it like to put my name to the name of the Church of England? Particularly those of you who know me well will know that I am in fact Scottish, and therefore being a priest in the Church of England is a little bit odd. However, here I am. And what the public see of the Church of England seems to me is an organisation that is infighting about the place of gay clergy and gay marriage. They see high-profile vicars facing abuse scandals or complaints about village churches closing. And I'm just reminded that man looks at the exterior, but God looks at the heart. And what is at the heart of Church of England for me is partly this idea of parish, where everyone is welcome, but also partly the idea of a bunch of people who are learning to, in technical terms, disagree well, or in real terms, muddle through the confusion and the differences between us, seeking to obey Jesus' golden rule of loving God and loving our neighbour. And this comes back again to ordinariness. We are all ordinary people in the Church of England. We all have differences of opinion, differences of theology, differences of practice. But we try to love one another, and we try to love our neighbour, and we try to love God. And it's this ordinary muddling through that I love about the Church of England. So I, for one, am pleased to be able to call myself a priest in the Church of England. Thank you for your time.